Welcome to Transforming the Toddler Years, a Core 4 parenting podcast blending soul and science-based strategies to empower pandemic moms like you, raising kindergarten-ready kids. I'm Cara Tyrrell, your host, a lifetime lover of littles, girl mom, early childhood educator, and conscious parenting coach who truly believes that how we connect and collaborate with our kids in the first 5 years is how we raise world-ready kids who will change this world. Hey, everybody. I am so excited about this episode today. I think I say that at every episode, but truly, this person is revolutionary. I met her a year and a half ago, and we just instantly clicked about all things. We love littles. We love mindset and perspective work. We believe in the power of human connection. We believe in the power of good sleep, which is what we're going to talk about today. And we believe that these world-ready kids that we're raising are going to change the world. Today, my good friend Kristine Petterson from Mindful Parenting Revolution is joining us. She lives in Moscow, Idaho, with her husband and 2 kids. And nearly a decade ago, she left public education. Oh yeah, we share that in common too. We're both teachers, to become a yoga instructor, a birth doula, and a sleep specialist. Talk about a change of career. When she became a parent, she was overwhelmed with sleep deprivation and mental health issues and just felt like it was getting in the way of her ability to connect with her kids. And so she took some courses. It took dedication and learning to become more patient and kind toward herself and her kids. But Kristine is now committed to helping other families find that same joy and connection. She's the founder of Mindful Parenting Revolution, a certified pediatric sleep consultant, and she's here today to help us help ourselves by helping our kids get better sleep. Before we dive into this week's episode, I want to take a minute and thank all the amazing conscious moms who took time and energy out of their day to join me for the Transforming Your Triggers workshop. We shared space, we shared connection, and we started some massive transformation just in those 90 minutes. So I'm thrilled to share with you that the doors to the full program are open. If you're ready to transform the toddler years by doing some deep soul work, some shifting, we're going to tackle the magic of mindset, the power of perspective, and take a peek inside your child's brain, some real neuroscience, right in the beginning of this program, the first 3 weeks. Then we're going to shift into the science of strategies, talk about the language of our little people, receptive and expressive, the science of our strategies, and then the magic, Mama. We are going to create the system, stack those strategies that allow you to create a personalized parenting toolkit to pull from that works for who you are, who your child is, and the beautiful home environment that you are designing. I would love to have you in this live program where we see each other, hear each other, engage with each other, and transform together. We start the first week of April. The doors are open right now. Go pay in full and snag the bonuses that I have with you and save some money on your program too. I am all in. 100% in for the transformation that will allow you to step deeply into your desire to be conscious, intentional, and collaborative as a parent. Create the relationship with your child as an anchor for every phase and stage that comes from now until they are an adult. And I am all in to help you manage your daily struggles and turn them into successes. Can't wait to see you in the program. If you'd like to join, it's easy. Just go to caratyrrell.com/transform. That link is in the show notes as well. I am ready to help you transform the toddler years, because when you win the toddler years, you've already won the teenage years. Kristine, I am so excited you are here. You and I have connected on so many levels over the last year and a half. We're both teachers. We're both lover of little peoples. We both believe in mindful connection between parent and child. And today we're here to talk about something we also believe strongly in, which is good sleep.
Yes. I've been really focused on boundaries lately in my work. I mean, I feel like we always end up teaching what we're sort of working on ourselves. And I'm really standing in the power of my boundaries right now. And I've had this whole uh, sort of rewriting of my sleep plans for folks with really clear boundaries and helping parents to see that when you honor your boundary, it makes bedtime so much easier and sleep in general improves so much because when we have healthy boundaries, we calm our nervous systems for ourselves and for our kids.
So you just said two different things that we often work with synonymously, which is sleep and bedtime, but they're different. They are unique creatures. Can you talk to parents? You know, the listeners here have infants, toddlers, and preschoolers, all really important ages. Can you talk to them about the benefits of good sleep?
Yes. Well, what we're learning, I think you might agree that we grew up in an era that, I mean, I used to get a tagline from one of my professors that was like, sleep when you're dead. And now people are saying, actually, the data is showing us that your health markers are dependent on sleep. So we are really connecting mental, physical, and emotional health and well being, our ability to calm our own nervous system during the day, our ability to notice. I mean, this mindfulness is so important. We really struggle to notice what's going on inside us and what's going inside of other people around us when we have long-term sleep deprivation. That's sort of the basis of sleep in terms of changing unwanted behaviors and family dynamics. I really, really find that rest is important, calm is important, but those things are actually easier to achieve when you're getting the total sleep you need in a 24-hour period.
So good, healthy, comprehensive sleep allows us to be our best selves when we're awake. And who doesn't want that? We're talking about this with our little people in mind, but I know there's moms out there saying, oh, I think that I have bought into the badge of honor, right? If I only get 5 hours sleep a night and I absolutely get everything done the next day, that makes me super mom. Can you just take 1 minute and give them a reframe that helps them feel safe enough to prioritize sleep?
Yeah, well, I mean, you just used a beautiful keyword, safety. And when we look to change our own honesty about how much sleep we need in a 24-hour period as parents, we are thinking about all the things we can't do, all the things we have to say no to in order to say yes to getting all that sleep. So, in a boundary discussion with parents, I like to just really simplify it as yes and no. When we make a boundary to keep ourselves healthy and safe, we have to identify things that we're going to say no to. And then we have to identify things that we're going to say yes to. And oftentimes the no's are it's just clearing out space for us to say yes to waking up feeling rested, waking up feeling ready, waking up knowing that we have the resources emotionally and physically to connect deeply and playfully with our children that day.
And that's what we want. That's why we have kiddos, right?
Yeah.
We want to work through our day feeling deeply connected and joyful. Isn't Kristine amazing? She is sharing such goodness with us, and we're going to get right back to it. But I wanted to share some more exciting news with you. Sign up for the Transforming the Toddler Years program by tonight, midnight Eastern Standard Time, and you have access to this bonus, a curated digital library of parenting masterclasses. Go through them at your own pace, but here are 3 that you might really be interested in. Understanding Challenging Behaviors with Barbara Grant, Finding Presence in Parenting with Adriana Keefe, and Toddler Sleep Solutions with Kristine Petterson, where she goes much deeper with a very clear slide deck to help you through with her toddler bedtime toolkit. Let's get back to what else she has to tell us, but be sure to sign up tonight to grab this amazing bonus. All right, so let's circle back to those 2 definitive things we had in the beginning, which is bedtime and sleep. Talk to us about bedtime, which for a lot of moms is a trigger word. And so the anxiety rises even before the behaviors begin.
Absolutely. It's interesting. Something you said sparked this in me. Who doesn't want more sleep or better sleep? The first thing that popped in my head was like a toddler. And oftentimes we think, right, that all of these bedtime stalling tactics and callbacks are because our toddler doesn't feel tired or they don't want to go to sleep. And I don't believe that. I believe that it's the stalling and the callbacks is probably has to do with the fact that they are overtired and they need more help and connection in order to co-regulate and calm their body and turn off their mind. And yet we see those stalling tactics or like sort of the Tasmanian devil behaviors that crop up when kiddos are overtired as a lack of desire or a not having a need for sleep. So I just want to call attention to that. Sleep is self-rewarding. It feels good to get quality sleep. If we're not getting enough, we can feel uncomfortable at bedtime when we have to say goodbye to the day. Even we as adults feel that. And teenagers certainly feel that. But it's not because they lack a desire for sleep or a need for sleep. At bedtime, again, I love to have parents go into the bedtime routine feeling really clear about what boundaries they're going to stick to. Basically, what are their no's and what are their yeses? So I like to, when I make a plan with parents, go through and help them identify, okay, what are the things that are no's for you? Like you're already feeling anxiety about the fact that your kiddo is going to refuse to put their pajamas on, or they're not going to let you brush their teeth, or the minute the books are done, they're going to run out of the room instead of jump into their bed and pull the covers up and wait for you to give them a kiss goodnight. So I have parents get really clear on what the no's are. And then we focus on, well, how are we going to make this a yes? Mm-hmm. How are we going to motivate your child to stick to this bedtime routine that you've implemented for them, right? To keep them safe and healthy. It's not something they contrived for themselves. So you've got to have some buy-in. So I really like for parents to include some choice for their kids, some silliness and some fun. And that can be just using a silly voice or even just using imaginative play. Like imagine that you are a character from their favorite story or their favorite show or their favorite board game and play it out as if they're another character and you're helping them get ready for bed. It can be amazing just to pretend your child's a vehicle and you're helping to do an oil change at bedtime.
I love it. It removes some of that emotion. And when you remove the emotion, you remove the triggers. Oh, or even you just sparked a cool idea. And I guarantee it's in your arsenal, but have the child run the routine with a stuffed animal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I mean, a role play is actually something I have really young kiddos do with their parents, even before we start a brand new bedtime routine that we know is going to be uncomfortable for them. But if you're role playing it with a stuffed animal, then it's going to be in their body and the words that you're using are going to be in their head. They're going to have heard this before and they're going to have watched their like peaceful little bear go to sleep just in the same way that your kiddo is going to go to sleep.
What I hear you saying without the words coming out yet, but I know parents are thinking, okay, so are we talking about sleep training? are we talking about sleep soothing, which is my preferred strategy? The idea that we have to be able to self-soothe in order to reach a state that allows us to fall asleep by ourselves and stay asleep longer and sleep more deeply.
Yeah, I, coming from an educational background, like to use sleep teaching or coaching because I actually explain it to parents like, you are the coach. When your kiddos go off to theater camp or to baseball camp, the coach isn't swinging the bat for them, right? The theater teacher's not saying the lines for them. They have to actually like go out on the field or stand up on stage, and they have to practice these things over and over again within the safety of like your container that you're creating. So if you can imagine your rules for the game changing every night based on how much protest the kid brings forth, or the way you react changing every night based on your level of patience and your feelings of overwhelm and exhaustion, then your child is going to have a really hard time practicing and practicing to learn these skills that help them to feel empowered, to cozy up in their own independent sleep space and feel comfortable and safe resting their body until sleep takes them over.
Oh my gosh, I love it. The rules can't change.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's the
really, really
game.
interesting. Yeah, when you put it in an analogy like that, you're like, no one would ever learn to play baseball. No one would ever perform a play if every single night they showed up and it was a different story, or a different rule. And so we really put kids at a disadvantage when we're not clear about our yeses and our nos going in. And when we allow our like disappointment and frustration, and those are all such valid feelings, and we have a system in our house of tagging out when one parent has had a tough day and they're like, I just can't take the toothbrushing drama right now, like I just don't have the energy to make it fun. We tag out because it's not fair to the kiddos to like not be able to play one night when last night you were a playful silly monkey. So that is really, really important. And I use a lot of when then statements. So in bedtime, those boundaries, it's really helpful when you can stop using threats or punishments at bedtime. And I'll tell you what, the most common thing that comes out of your mouth at bedtime when you're feeling frustrated is, if you don't blank, then you're not going to get to blank, right? So if you don't finish brushing your teeth, or if you don't get your pajamas on, then you don't get stories, or you don't get a bedtime song, or I'm not going to lay in bed with you. And that immediately sends kids into fight or flight, right? They're going to lose something. They're feeling unsafe just listening to the tone of your voice. So I have parents just say really clearly, when you're done brushing your teeth and you have your pajamas on, then we can sit down and read your book. You've already picked out a book. We can't wait to read it. Do you
Yeah.
want me to help you, or would you like to do it yourself? Right. So giving lots of options and choice within that win then, and really trying not to use threats or punishments, even kind threats or punishments. It's really interesting to parse down our language and get really clear about what we're communicating and how to our kiddos. And anytime you're threatening to take something away from them or to count to four, or we always say, like, if you can't brush your teeth, I'm going to count to four. And then I don't know what's going to happen after that. It's usually not a very well thought out plan. But I've found that the win then statements with a lot of choice are really helpful.
Yeah. And when you were talking about the if you don't, then you can't, I was like, oh, it changes the rules of the game, right? We're changing the rules. But the when you turned it into when you this, then we can do that, the boundaries are still in place. It's so brilliant. It's so fantastic. And I think that everyone's starting to realize it's small intentional changes that are going to make long, repeatable outcomes happen for you. I know
Yeah.
healthy boundaries are a big key for you. They're in the core value system for you. Why are healthy sleep boundaries so hard for parents of little people to put in place?
Fear.
Hmm.
I think we have a lot of fear. I just got off the phone with a mom I was talking to earlier today, and she said, well, what if they do ask for a snack as I'm getting ready to tuck them in bed and turn out the lights? And then I look back at our meal and maybe they didn't eat enough. So we have this real fear around not helping to meet our kids' basic needs if we say no. And so it was really interesting to work through that. And I said, well, you're going to have to start at the dinner table with the new commitment to our bedtime routine and make sure they understand if you're asking to be excused, the kitchen's closed. So there's no food until tomorrow. And then when that request comes up, the kitchen's closed right now. You can drink your water or you can rest in bed and I can sing you a song. Those are your options, right? But knowing that you have lots of ways to help your kiddo feel grounded and safe without having to change or to flip-flop the rules all the time, right? And kiddos will get really creative. I mean, let's try to think of some more callbacks. I want a snack, I want one last hug. What do you hear?
Another book.
Yes, right? I want more connection.
Yeah. I want daddy if it's mommy in the room.
Get the other parent. That's a great one and super frustrating for the parent doing the bedtime routine. I mean, it is. And I think that within each of those things, we get this like fiery reaction of at the heart of it, I'm not good enough. Right? Like, oh, you want dad because I'm just not enough. Or you need a meal because I didn't feed you well earlier. Or, you need more snuggles because you didn't get enough earlier in the day. And these are all totally subconscious like inner critic voices that are going on way underneath. And sometimes it takes some effort to dive deep and figure out what the root of our inability to stick to healthy boundaries is.
Yes. Yes. And, you and I both teach knowing your why is so important. So walking into this bedtime routine, knowing why you've chosen some strategies, knowing that you've proactively set them up by having these conversations at the dinner table, that the routine, why are we doing this? Because we want our kids to be healthy and we want them to get great sleep. We have to just keep reminding ourselves because it's so easy to lose track of that vision when we're inside the thick of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I forget every night. Like, why does it feel so good for all of us to sit together at the end of the day? No one really wants to stop reading books. Even I don't. It's my favorite time of the day. I feel like it's the only time my kiddos are still and will let me really snuggle them. So it is hard to keep the routine moving along. And yet it's also really important for me to have that time after they go to sleep. It's really important for me to know that they feel confident just being with themselves independently. I had to learn to self-soothe as an adult, and I do not want that for my children.
Yeah, that is such a huge skill. Oh my gosh. And what came up for me when you were saying that is maybe we ask ourselves the question when we're about to give in or about to change that rule and say, what is the cost of what I'm about to do? Because we all know for that one decision made, we're going to have to go back 5 steps and recreate it to regain the trust and the respect that our child believes us when we say it and we mean what we say.
Yes.
Wow. Well, you are amazing. I am so grateful for the work that you do and have done for yourself so that you can share it with your children. You're raising a generation of conscious little girls, and that's amazing. We could go on all day. You and I share such connection, but I'm going to keep it brief for our listeners so they can marinate on this because it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. Final thoughts, like maybe a tip or two that you can give before.
Yeah, my biggest one is avoid using threats at bedtime and keep things calm with when-then statements. But I also really love the idea of focusing on what kiddos can do. So, can you show me how you jump in bed? This is back to the coaching, right? I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to lay in bed and hold your body while it calms down. Can you show me how you jump in bed? Can you show me how it feels good to tuck yourself in? And what's the right side to lay on? Does the left side feel better or does the right side feel better? Like get cozy in a position that feels good to you. And then who do you want to snuggle? Right? Like find your lovey that you want to snuggle or your special blanket or your special pillow. What feels good? I want you to show me. I'm going to watch you. I want to see you, right? Our kids want nothing more than to be seen. So give them this opportunity at bedtime while you coach them through what they can do. And this can extend all the way down. Show me how you can brush your back teeth way on the inside. I'm watching. Show me how you can get your pajama pants on all by yourself, and I'll help you with the shirt. Show me how you can climb up here to read this book with me, right? Like you can offer them lots of opportunities to be the star of the show, which I guarantee they want to do.
Yes, they do. Our sweet little toddlers and preschoolers are, I've said this probably 3 times in the last 3 days, they are little ego creatures,
They
right?
are, and that's okay. They're learning to step into their power, and it's a really good thing.
Absolutely. All right. So where can people find you online if they want to follow and learn more from you? We'd love to connect you.
Yes, thank you so much. I always love our discussions, and you're such an inspiration for your parents and for educators. So thank you. And folks can find me if they're interested in the Mindful Parenting Revolution program where I incorporate sleep and boundaries into parenting and changing all sorts of behaviors at mindfulparentingrevolution.com.
Fantastic. What an amazing conversation. I just know people are going to want to check it out. They're going to want to make some changes. And I thank you so much for being here today.
Well, can we end on the fact that changes are a lot easier to make when you can make them fun, right? When you have coaches like you who can really celebrate the positives and see the joy and the ease in making those changes. It doesn't have to be hard.
What a great place. What a great place to leave us. Uplifted, feeling empowered. We can do this one tiny little shift at a time. Reach out for help from either of us if you feel like you need it. Thank you, Mama, for making time for yourself and prioritizing your parenting, listening to this podcast. Until the next episode, stay mindful and proactive as you transform the toddler years.